in your book, New Vistas of Hope, in chapter 6, it says, when you forgive your controlling self, you learn that by controlling others, you imprison yourself in the bars you built around them and lose your creativity. When you forgive your ruling self, you learn that when you take over someone else's freedom, you also lose your freedom. Since you are so occupied in ruling others, you lose your power and willingness to act and your ability to make further progress on your sacred journey. When you forgive your manipulating self, you learn that you gain the opportunity to find your truer self. When you stop reliving the past, you learn that you can create your own future by design. You're a master of your own destiny and not a victim of fate. When you forgive your unfriendly self, you learn the lessons that the world is a wonderful place filled with truth, beauty, and goodness. When you forgive your take and to be taken self, you learn that you can consciously create abundance and generously share that abundance with others. When you forgive your blaming self, you learn to take responsibility to create your own reality through love, caring, compassion, and generosity. When you forgive your dominating self and release the resonance of domination, you learn the lessons of time and space, thus creating the resonance of dominion. And I love how you broke that down.
Okay. It is a wonderful. The most secret of this negative emotion, the 90%, most of the majority of the people, they use the word blame. He did it, she did it, he did it, he screwed me up, he betrayed me, that. When you blame, you give your all power to somebody. He dictates, or he or she dictates my life. So a whole secret, when you don't blame, take the responsibilities of diametrically opposite of blame. You don't need to have anesthetic of when you blame, you do not see all negative emotions. They call anesthetic, physical word with the anesthetic. Then you don't feel, but you pass at the same time, you give all your power. Once you give your power, you don't have power and don't have a force to create your own reality. The blame is the most difficult word with all the negative component, constricted emotion. The fulcrum of the negative emotion or constricted emotion is the blame. You remove the blame because that was we started thinking, recognizing, and acknowledging. Because I'm not blaming. You use the causation theory. I caused it or I allowed it. I am responsible for it. Either by negligence or ignorance or by default or any way, I am responsible there. The whole 180 degree change, the shift gear. Then you are responsible, then you can go for the feel, how that I created consciously. You understand, then you learn all emotions are there, how the emotions are, what negative emotions are, how to convert negative emotion into positive. Then you learn the metaphysics. Metaphysics is how to manaparya. In our language we call manaparya, how to change the mindset. So once you change the negative mindset from the constricting emotion to transitory emotion to the expanding emotion. The expanding emotion like the well-being, enthusiasm, all the optimisms and all happiness and joyfulness and the finally love and all the work together. Then you are expanding emotion, you become very consciously creative. That is the last step. Constantly creating creativity happens. That's what happens. The whole secret is how to get out of the blame and convert it into responsibility. And that was the whole secret of the constantly generating genuine forgiveness. Is taking the responsibility. That is consciously. Then you do meditation. And then you do practice. Application. Act upon application. Okay? That is the whole secret is the application. That you don't forget. You don't have a relationship. You don't have a relation with the negative emotion. You are all free. I'm joyful, very happy, come on, I can do this, I can be joyful, whatever. Then you enter into self-actualization and create. We talked about self-actualization. Then you create your own reality. I'm very, very happy for that one. Whole secret. Then you become young adult. You got all, your slate is clean, you got so many dreams are there. I want to become this, I want to become this, I want to become, and you can fulfill your dreams and vision.
Yeah, you have to become very conscious to actually direct your attention, pay attention in a different direction. And this forgiveness, from one perspective, it's really, in a sense, like the most self-loving thing that you could do for yourself. As you said, there's a lot of resistance to forgiveness, as you shared, because, you know, someone has done something to us in the blame game. But truly, it's the most self-loving thing, because we actually call our power back, and then we can consciously begin to create our reality.